and girls. Today we're going to be reviewing 4 of the letters that we've learned this year and doing some activities that help us with blending and reading words that contain these letters. So I'm going to be asking you quite a few times during this video to be pausing it and letting you have time to read the words on your own, and then we'll come back together after you push the play button and we'll be able to read it all together, like I'm there right there with you reading. Okay? The first letter that we're going to review this week is the letter K, and let's do our whole alphabet chant together. K, koala. K. I'm going to write just a few words underneath it, and I would like you then to push pause and try to sound them out now on your own. Okay, go ahead and push pause while you try to blend and read those 3 words. Okay, now that you've had some time, let's read them together. Kit, kid, kite. I hope you got this one. This one has the bossy E at the end of it, so it makes that short I now turn into the long I, and we would sound it out, kite, kite. Okay, so this week we're working with the letter K. We're also going to be reviewing this one. Whoops. Okay, let's go ahead and say the alphabet chant. S, salamander. Go ahead and push pause while you try to blend and read those words. Now that you've had a little bit of time to read those, let's go ahead and read them all together. Ready, go. Set, sun, sip, stop. This one, thinking back to our video from last week, has a blend right in the beginning of it. So when you blended it, you could have said stop, stop. Okay, nice job. Okay, we're also going to be reviewing this letter. Here we have W, watermelon, W. Oops. Okay, go ahead and push pause, please. And let's go ahead and read it together. Ready, go. Wet, wig, win, wide. Again, bossy E makes that letter I say its name. W-eyed, wide. Okay, and the last letter that we're going to be focusing on for this week is this one. Let's say the chant together. M, motorcycle, This one is the sound you make when your lips are touching. Here are some words that have this word, or I'm sorry, this letter in it. Okay, and then go ahead and push pause as you try to blend and read those words. Okay, now that you've had some time, I hope that these last 2 did not trick you up. Okay, those ones are a little bit tougher, but let's go ahead and read. Mug, mop, mane, mask. This one we have the bossy E again. It's making the letter A now say its name. A-N, mane, like a lion's mane. And this one has the letters S-K at the end. That's one of the blends we talked about last week. Ask, mask. Okay, so those are the 4 letters that we're going to be working with for this week throughout this video, and then also in the decodable story that is linked on our calendar. I have 2 little activities that I'm going to have you do with me. The first one is chaining, and when we chain words, it basically just means that I'm changing either the beginning, the ending, or the middle sound to make a new word. And when I do this, the goal is to be kind of quick with it. So if I'm adding a letter at the beginning of a word, I don't need to sound the whole thing out because I already read the first word. When I change the ending sound, I don't need to go through and say all of the different sounds. I only really need to focus on the last sound because that's what changed. As I go through and do a couple of these, I think you'll start to kind of pick up and remember what this looks like. We've done this in our reading groups a lot. So the goal for this is you're going to watch the word that I'm writing and you're going to try to really quickly figure out how I changed it to make it a new word. And your goal is to do it before, is to say the new word before I do. Okay, so here we go. Here's my first word. For this one, if you don't know it right away, you are going to need to blend it so that you can read it. It. Okay, pretty easy, two-letter word. Now, if I add this letter sound to the beginning of my word, now think about what it becomes. You should not have to read or sound out all of the sounds. It. That kind of wastes time. You already know that oops, I'm sorry, that is the word it. So now you really should just say it, kit, okay? And that's what I mean. When we are changing a letter, we just kind of want to be quick with it to try to figure out what the new sound or the new letter word is going to be, excuse me. So if that was kit, if I change the ending, now it becomes, see if you can get it before me, in, kin, okay? Kin, which basically means close family and friends, kin. Now I'm going to change the beginning sound. If I change the k in kin to this, now my word becomes in, win. Kin and win rhyme. All I did was change my beginning sound. I'm going to change my beginning again. Now it's not going to be win. Now it's going to be in, tin. Okay? Another word that rhymes. This one is the trickiest part when I change that middle vowel sound because now you probably will have to sound everything out and that's okay. N, tan, the color, okay, like a light brown color. If I change my beginning sound, my new word is man. If I change my ending sound to this, now my new word is map. Map. I'm going to change my beginning sound again. Sap. Sap. Okay, the stuff that's inside of trees that's kind of sticky. And the last one, I'm going to change my middle sound again. Sip. Okay, we call that chaining. So for any families that are watching this video, this is a really good activity to do, especially when you're focusing on certain letters. You just kind of try to change just one letter at a time. The goal really is to not have to sound every single sound out every single time. The goal is really to try to get them to understand that we're just manipulating or changing one of the sounds, and they should be able to start. The more they practice with it, the more they should start to be able to see they only really need to change that beginning or ending sound. You can do the same thing when you're having them write certain words. So I would pick a whole bunch of words that rhyme with the word sip, and I would just say, okay, now I want you to write the word tip. How can we change the word sip to make it tip? I hear a different sound in the beginning, so they would only then erase the letter S and so on. If you need any more suggestions or activities like this or ideas for activities like this, please feel free just to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy. This is something that we did a lot in our reading groups. For my friends, the last part of this video is going to be something where, again, I'm going to make a word bank at the top of my board, and your job is going to be to figure out which of the words would fit into each of the sentences that are below it. So you're just going to have to give me just a minute to get the sentences all on the board for you and to get the words in the word bank or on the word bank up there, okay? Actually, okay, so that was a pretty cool trick that I just discovered, how I can pause my video. Sorry, it took me a little bit to figure that out, but your job here is to look at these three words. This would be my word bank at the top of like a worksheet, and these are the three sentences that are underneath it. Your job is to figure out which of these words fits into these three sentences. So I will help you read the words at the top, just so that I know that you have the words in the word bank correctly, but it's going to be your job to pause the video, and to read each sentence and figure out which of these 3 words will Mrs. Rose need to write on the line to make that sentence make sense. So let's first start. We'll do this together. So please be ready to say these sounds with me to blend and read the word. Here we go. Mop. Mop. My first word is mop. My second word, wet. Wet. So I have mop, I have wet, and my last word, kite. Kite. Okay? Mop, wet, and kite. It is going to be your job now to push pause on your video and make sure that you read each of those sentences. See if you have a piece of paper down next to you or a whiteboard or something that you can write on. See if you can figure out which word and write it on the first line, the second line, and the third line. I would just make kind of a little list down my page. Okay, so please go ahead and push pause. Now that you've had time to do this work on your own, I really hope that you were able to practice. My first sentence, the answer for my first one, Sam got, I hope that you were able to figure out that this one should be the word wet. Sam got mop, doesn't quite make sense. Sam got kite, doesn't make sense. But Sam got wet, certainly does. So I've used that one. Okay, hopefully you got that. If you did, give yourself a little pat on the back. Good reading. Next sentence, my sentence says, Dad will blank it up. Well, since I already know wet was already used, I only have 2 choices. Dad will mop it up is the one that makes sense to complete that sentence. Okay, since I've used that one, obviously we know then that the last word is going to go in this sentence, but we still need to check it just to make sure we didn't make any other mistakes with our work. They have a kite. That one does make sense. So it looks like I did all 3 of those sentences correctly. Okay. Again, for families that might be looking for some extra activities to have your child do, this would be something, a really good practice for them. Just write a couple of simple words in a word box and just 3 or 4 simple sentences underneath. It's a good way to practice blending words. It's a good way also to have them practice a little bit of their printing with writing words on lines. Okay. So that is it for this week, friends. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and to do these activities with me. Again, on your calendar, there is a decodable reader that's going to include a lot of these letter sounds that we've been practicing. And if anyone has any other questions or anything, please just don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you, friends. Bye-bye.